What up, though? Week 1 of NCAA football, man. What could possibly happen? Yes, Alabama. Yes, Arch. Yes, Dabo, and more. It's the Wait a Minute Show. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What is up? What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, it is your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of this thing called the Wait a Minute Show, and welcome back. Labor Day weekend. Yes, I was saying that we weren't going to do a show. I guess I was wrong, because here I am dropping you an episode. But hey, no matter what, we're going to get into NCAA football this week. We got week 1 that was on the cusp, and a lot has transpired. Let's just say that before the NFL week kickoff, which we'll be talking about later in another episode. But let's talk about NCAA football week 1. And let's start with I guess you're really going to say it's the biggest story, right? It got to be the biggest story. Arch Manning going into Ohio State with the number 1 team, Texas, and them losing, right? So here's what I'm going to say about the game. 1, the game wasn't that bad, okay? It was a defensive match between both. You got 2 essential rookie quarterbacks going into a big time game, and it looked like the coaches did not want to make any mistakes. Nobody wanted to make the big mistake. Didn't work out the way Texas wanted to. They had their opportunity to get back into this game, but Ohio State and their defense showed up and they got the win. So we saw how all that transpired. Now the talk is more about this hype with Arch Manning. Is he actually worth the hype? Is he this generational talent? What happened? Why this, all that stuff? Why this? Why that? Why not? Why, how, whatever, right? Here's what I'm going to say about the Arch thing. Well, let me go back to the game real quick, because I just think, yes, Arch didn't play well. He knows he has to play better. But then also, you had the same problem that you had last year when you played Ohio State, getting down there to that goal line and you not being able to cash in. Maybe if that, happened, we're talking a little bit different. But back to Arch. Ladies and gentlemen, calm down. Pump the brakes, as they say. Arch Manning is getting this hype because of his last name. I'm not saying that he's not talented. Not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that where they have put him in this hype train, majority of that is because of his last name. And he knows that. He knows he has to cash in on that. I'm not worried about Arch. What I'm talking about is that everybody needs to ease up. It's the first game of the season. It's a long season. Last time I checked, last year, Ohio State won the national championship, and they didn't win all their games. They lost the game. So don't discount Arch Manning just yet. But what we saw was a kid who's going to have to go through a developmental process. And you're going to have to be patient with that. Can he do it? Yeah, chances are he can. Will he do it? Chances are yes. Will it be to the level of what people want and their expectations? Probably not. They want this guy to be Superman. Give the kid a little bit of time. Give the kid the opportunity to have a few starts under his belt, if you will. And maybe, just maybe, you probably will get this generational talent that you've been looking for. Stop trying to microwave everything so quick. We don't have to have him being this or this right away. It's a lot of good football that's being played in the NCAA, and the name is not Arch Manning, okay? So chill out. Please, chill out with it. Give the kid a break. Who won't get a break is Alabama, right? Alabama goes into Tallahassee to take on Florida State, and they get mollywopped. Just plain and simple. They get mollywopped, and it's to the point where now their fans are going viral. Look at this guy right here. He is not happy at all. The score definitely represents what he's saying in his picture, but this dude is not happy, nor is other Alabama fans happy as well. But what that young gentleman needs to realize, and what other Alabama fans need to realize, is what I was saying last year, is that the reason I said Alabama shouldn't have been into the playoff is because Alabama is not the Alabama what we were accustomed to seeing. They are not that team currently. Last year they wasn't, and we just seen they went in there, they got ran on, they couldn't stop Florida State. That's not what we're normally used to seeing when it comes to Alabama football. Can they get back to it? I don't know. I'm not going to say yet. Saban is gone. Look, Coach DeBoer, that's there. He got some big shoes. And I'm not saying he needs to fill Nick Saban's shoes, but just in general of being the Alabama football coach, you got some big shoes to fill. So he's going uphill with this battle. But maybe Alabama is not getting the talent that they once were. Maybe people aren't as scared of them as they once were. You have to get over it. You have to. I've talked about this before. You see it happen. Miami went on their run. Georgia went on their run. Clemson went on their run, which we're going to talk about Clemson in a little bit. But you have these universities that go on their run, and then maybe they have a little bit of a hiccup, and then they can come back and establish themselves before some teams. Some it take longer than others. But I'm not surprised by what we saw, with Alabama. We saw that on the writing on the wall. Actually, 2 years ago, we saw the changes that was happening with Alabama. So if you think that things are just going to turn around just like that, you're sadly mistaken. You're probably going to be having that look that gentleman just had, and that feeling. And what's going to happen is Alabama fans are going to be like, nah, we're not gonna sit around and wait on this. And I just got a feeling that they're going to have that coach on the hot seat, especially if they lose, another game. And I kind of hate at the beginning of the season where you say to an unranked opponent, because everybody is kind of finding out where they're going to fall, in this thing. So, the preseason, rankings and everything, I don't fall, too much into that. But Alabama, this is the new Alabama. They're going to have to make some changes. They're going to have to, work to get better and all that good stuff. But this is what it is. They're not a horrible team. They're just not as dominant as they once were. And I think that's me being, realistic. And I think everybody else has to be realistic on that. Okay. So reality set in for another individual, and that was Coach Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers. So they go in at home and they invite LSU, another Tiger, into the house to kick off the season, and they lose 17-10. Now, close game. They didn't get the doors blown off of them. They just didn't get the job done. And, Dabo Swinney was in the news for, he feeling that his team could go undefeated and all that. So obviously we know that's not going to happen. Don't kill Dabo Swinney for that statement. There's nothing wrong in you believing in your team and trying to speak that into existence. Here's the good thing about what transpired yesterday. Their season is not over. Their season is not over. This is not the way it used to be, was that, you lose one game. Now you got to worry about, especially Florida State. Florida State, they're going to have to see Florida State. And just off of one game, Florida State is looking good. But you had to worry about, could we lose in the championship, in the conference championship game, and that'll knock us out. You don't have to worry about that. You still can get into the playoffs. You still can accomplish all the things that you said that you wanted, that you set out to accomplish. It's not going to be an undefeated season for them. Now, there's some things that they got to get together, because they weren't the high power offense that we were expecting them to be. But again, it's week one. We're going to give them a little bit of a break. Everybody's getting into the mix of things. But Clemson will be there. Florida State will be there in that ACC. I think you even, throw Georgia Tech in there. Georgia Tech surprised a lot of people last year, but, I don't know if they're going to sneak up on everybody, but you're going to have to worry about Georgia Tech coming into this season as well. But Clemson, all is not lost. It's not over. It's not over. Undefeated season is over, but it's not over. Fans are upset. Players are upset. A lot of people are, upset. Probably coaches and all that stuff. But one thing that's not upsetting, a little funny though, did you see the Oregon Duck, right? This is the Oregon Duck that we are used to seeing. This is the one you see, on the field, in the commercials, him and Lee Corsco, all that good stuff. Where everybody, look, it's week one. We're getting things, situated. And you're getting off to a rough start. This is the Duck that we saw yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. And it happens. You lose your head sometimes, literally. And in true fashion and true rules of the mascot, I guess rule book is that you cannot reveal your identity and you need to get out of there. And surely he did. I think this brother might have ran a 4.3440 to get up out of there, right? I applaud him. I was thinking maybe I could grab the head or anything like that. No, Jelani, you don't. You get out of there. Somebody will grab that for you. So I still don't know who it is because, the imaging wasn't that great. Nobody has caught like an angle. Maybe, somebody caught it with the camera phone. But if he escapes and get away with this without nobody seeing his identity, props to the Oregon Duck for the recovery of getting exposed, if you will, or revealed, however way you want to call it. But it was a funny moment. So week one, is some rough stuff. It's some funny stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's going on into the first week. And how we ended the first week was happy, but a little sad. I'm going to say this because game day, which is something everybody, loves to watch, attend, and peep out, lost one of the greatest members of game day, and that was Lee Corsco. He officially retired. He did his last show to start off the week. Lee Corsco is in his 90s. So I'm like, yeah, it's time, Lee. Hang it up, man. Go fishing. Go have a good time. But he went out there. He got his last pick right. He picked the Buckeyes for them to win. So that was on a good note. And I just want to say, probably what millions of people, is always thinking is thanks, because making him being on game day, was exciting to watch. You always wanted to tune in to see who he was going to pick with his headgear and everything, even the guests that they have. I have used his line so many times about the not so fast, my friend. And it's going to be different, man, without him. Game day will survive, but it will not be the same, is what I'm saying. So props to Lee Corsco, man. Enjoy that retirement, man. Whatever it is that you're about to do, get some rest, relaxation, live it up, and enjoy, whatever is set before you, bro. Because we enjoyed it. You gave us enough. If anybody wanted any more, they're being too greedy, right? So props to Lee Corsco, man. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy, Jelani JB Bodie, here for the Wait a Minute show. I'm rolling dolo today. Mo will be back. Don't worry about it. He'll be back for another episode. But I said, I got to get this in. I got to get this in to the folks. And I did. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Remember, like, subscribe, turn on those notifications and everything. And I'm going to holler at y'all later. 2 things as always. Stay positive and push forward. Peace.